In this week's edition of 2 Minute Tuesday, I'm going to talk about some of the differences you can expect to encounter when you move to Spain from, say, Northern Europe. Some of the customs, the traditions and nuances that this wonderful and exciting country has to offer that you may not necessarily expect. So welcome to episode 27 of 2 Minute Tuesday with Hondon Valley Homes. Now, I'm not going to use this video as an opportunity to tell you what is better about Spain than, say, the UK, the Netherlands or Belgium. Instead, I'm going to point out some of the customs, the expectations that you as a North European won't be used to, that are part and parcel of living in Spain on a day-to-day basis. So let's start. In this area, breakfast is generally at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it can include a small beer or a brandy, or in some cases both. Lunch is between 2 o'clock and say 4 o'clock and include wine and beer, and dinner can be any time from 9 p.m. onwards, and of course will include wine. The business day in Spain is a long one. I regularly get calls from clients at 8 or 9 o'clock inquiring about properties, and this is considered the norm. Some businesses open at 8 a.m. and run all the way through till 10 p.m. in the evening. Don't plan a shopping trip on a Sunday because only bars, restaurants, cafes, petrol stations are open. The best time to go shopping in Spain to the supermarket is between 2 and 5, when everybody is on lunch or siesta, and the shops and supermarkets, if they're open, are very, very quiet. Which leads me nicely on to the siesta is still almost religiously observed in Spain. Siesta actually means the 6th hour, and it originates to allow field workers to have a meal and a nap maybe 6 hours after dawn. In these days of air-conditioned offices, fast food, this is a tradition that still fascinates and delights as much as it frustrates business people in Spain, because sometimes it looks like Spain is closed for a few hours every day. In the north of Europe, you can apply for and update passports, ID cards, driving documents online in just a few simple clicks, but that's not always the case here. Often you'll need a trip to a government office, a bank, a police station, a town hall to hand over a piece of paper in order to obtain another piece of paper, and sometimes this can be frustrating. The good news is that when you're finding your feet, there are plenty of companies and organisations that are willing to assist you. Now, surely the law is the law, regardless of where you live. Sometimes I think in Spain that the law is the interpretation of the person who is reading it rather than the letter of the law, and this you'll find out. Family life always comes first, and this is a wonderful way to live. Often you can be sat in a restaurant with a Spanish family gathering on another table, from the grandmother right down to the youngest of babies. Huge table making as much noise as a football crowd, and it is wonderful to watch the social interaction. And don't forget that the restaurant won't be busy at 8 p.m, it'll be busy at 11 p.m. Every week of the year there is a fiesta somewhere in the region. There is a patron saint for just about everything, and they are all celebrated with gusto, and the better for it. Fiestas are taken incredibly seriously in Spain, and regardless of any financial woes in the world, whether in a small village like Hondon or a big city like Alicante or Valencia, they have to be seen to be believed. From religious processions to firework displays, you need to be here to really drink in the atmosphere. Why whisper when you can shout? You will know exactly what I mean the first time you walk into a gallery or a museum, because hushed tones are not necessarily required, and silence isn't always golden. Business suits are rarely required, as people here dress for the temperature. Ties and formal wear are rarely seen. Lawyers, bankers, professionals, everybody dresses for the temperature. In the summer, dress sense is very casual. In the winter, as a North European, I could be wearing short sleeves and shorts because the temperature is 21 or 18 degrees. Some of my local Spanish friends will be wearing coats, jackets, scarves, gloves. The difference between North and South Europe. Spain is still a very religious country, and religious holidays are immaculately preserved here. You will often see the whole family going to church on a Sunday or going to a midnight mass, for example. Spain is about 4 times the size of the UK, but with a smaller population. So expect to drive greater distances between the major cities and expect huge expanses of beautiful countryside in between them. The high-speed rail service in Spain is superb. The intercity trains and flights are very reasonably priced. The motorways are virtually uninhabited and very, very smooth, and can get you from A to B in no time at all. Due to the lower latitude of southern Spain, the day starts a little bit later in the summer, finishes a little bit earlier than, say, northern Europe, and yet in the winter the cold dark mornings and afternoons of the north of Europe are replaced by sun-filled light and bright days. I doubt you're ever going to be scraping ice off your windscreen of your car and shoveling snow off the driveway first thing in the morning. Remembering to pay for your coffee in a cafe is a problem here. You rarely pay for items in bars and cafes until you actually leave. The waiter will take your order and then you only pay when you leave, so you need to remember to pay. People lose their wallets, their keys, their passports in local bars and restaurants, and you'll often find that they're always handed into the restaurant or to the local police station or the town hall with all the cards and the money intact. In the supermarkets, you need to look at the date on the products because sometimes you'll be confused by what it actually says on there. You think there's a very short life or it's actually gone past its best before. But if you look carefully, you'll find that it's the picked on date. So you may be looking at something and the date on it will be yesterday. That's not the best before date. That was the date that it was picked. So food here comes straight from the field and is on the shelves in no time at all. And last but not least, roundabouts. Now I want you to forget everything you've ever been taught or learnt about how to use a roundabout. No matter how many lanes or how big a roundabout is, in Spain you use the outside lane to go on any exit. The first time you come to Spain, the first time you see a roundabout, you'll see exactly what I mean. It's one of the things you learn very quickly in Spain. Well, that's it. I could continue this list. There are so many more things that I could tell you about, so maybe we'll do a part 2 in the near future. If you've enjoyed this video, please click on the small logo which is somewhere down here in the corner of the screen, and you can subscribe. At the end of the video there's a subscribe button, and if you're watching on YouTube there's a little bell that you can click and then you'll be automatically notified each time a new video is uploaded. If you've got any questions about living in Spain, whether it's buying or selling a property, then please feel free to drop me a line on the details below. We've got a fantastic section on the website for buyers and sellers, full of useful information, videos like this. We have downloadable ebooks, we have articles that we've written. So please be sure to check out our website as well. Thank you very much for watching this edition of 2 Minute Tuesday. Of course, we'll be back next week with a new edition. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you next week.